Our next session is something that normally is not talked about at conferences like this, but in this situation, it must be talked about. It's resilience and war and recovery. And how do you maintain, preserve, and protect your history, your story, your culture, and your heritage if your country's at war? I'm going to introduce two panelists here, and then a very special guest coming live from the city of Lviv in Ukraine. To my immediate right, Yuliia Zghurska, the Deputy Director of the Kharkiv City Council, and to her right, the other Yuliia in the room, Yuliia Sosyukina, I hope I got that pronunciation right, the Goodwill Ambassador and the former Mrs. Universe of Monaco for 2021. And then joining us on satellite, the Honorable Andriy Moskalenko, the Deputy Mayor of the city of Lviv in Ukraine. Mr. Deputy Mayor, thank you so much for joining us under these circumstances. I think I speak for everybody in the room when we tell you our hearts and prayers and thoughts are going out to you and everybody in the Ukraine during this tough, very tough time. So thank you again for joining us. So let's start off with what we have to protect. First of all, what we have to begin with. And Yuliia, why don't I start with you? We talk about UNESCO heritage sites. Most people don't realize how many there are in the world, and most people don't realize how many there are that are not well protected to begin with or well presented. That's not necessarily the case in Ukraine, but we're going beyond UNESCO World Heritage Sites here. We're talking about cultural heritage. We're talking about art treasures. We're talking about museums that are very much at risk here and in many cases have been damaged. So why don't you give us a little bit of a report?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting us, because it's really important for us to be together with our colleagues, because actually I'm used to speak about tourism, about international cooperation with sister cities, about our municipality, about Kharkiv as a city for destination for tourists. But now, of course, we need to feel the support of everybody, of my colleagues, of people whom I met last years and so on, and thanks that we feel this support. Thank you so much for that. And of course, for those who don't know, Kharkiv is almost 2 million inhabitants. It has before the war. Now it's 1 million, because people coming back. They went after beginning the war, but now they are returned. Because Kharkiv is a specific city. It's just 50 kilometers from the border with Russian Federation. So that's why my city suffers from the very beginning, from the 5 in the morning, 24th of February. It is suffer from rocket attacks each day, till today. And I'm not sure that it will stop. Of course, we as a city administration, we are responsible for preserving all these monuments, theaters, all this historical heritage, because it's very important for us, it's very important for future generations. And we are doing our best together with our partner cities, international partner cities. And I'm not sure if we have photos. Yes, we have. So it's a city center. It's a building just near the Kharkiv municipality. So it's the building near my office where I work for 17 years. So it's my second house. And when it was bombed, it was first time when I cried during this war, unfortunately. It's a historical monument. It's a monument, it's a building where tourists prefer take photos, prefer visit it. It's a palace. Some kind of palace in Kharkiv. So it's a city center itself. And you can see the results of this attack. I'm not sure that we are going to rebuild it absolutely, but now, because sometimes even documents, even these architectural structures are destroyed, so we cannot even find the original plans of such buildings. But we are doing our best together with our youngsters, because they are digital, they are really digital, and they are trying to do all these 3D scanners and so on, and to find the opportunity to rebuild it and to make it as it was before. I will show you just few photos. It's my administration. It's Kharkiv municipality before and after. It's the neighbor building to those that I just showed you. So it's the result. Actually, there is no military there. There is no military object near. It's just a historical building, historical heritage. But I would like to show you what we are doing with our monuments. Here you can see the monument to Taras Shevchenko. Do you know who is he?
Tell everybody.
Yes, he is a really famous person for Ukraine. He is an earther, and he is a historical person who forced for independence of Ukraine. Maybe you know Kabzar. It's a very famous, his very famous poem, which shows the forces of Ukraine and our way to independence and so on. So it's a very important monument for all Ukrainians. It's a very important person for all Ukrainians all over the world. There are more than 250 monuments to Taras Shevchenko all over the world. This one is one of the best. It's one of the best monuments to Taras Shevchenko all over the world. And thanks to our partner cities in Poland, we have these bags with sand and construction, which is which helps to prevent it from damages. So we hope that it will survive, because it's really important for us. It's very important monument. And in such way we are trying to preserve all the monuments that are so important for our city and for Ukrainians. Of course, now a lot of buildings, it's more than 140 historical buildings are destroyed or damaged absolutely. And it's our history, and we are trying now, just with our partners, with the help of international organizations, to close windows with OSBs or wood or something else, just to save and just to close roofs and windows, because autumn and rains are coming and so on.
And winter's coming.
Yes, winter is coming, and it's a problem because few galleries, museums, they needed to take off all the pictures, all the exhibits far away and to hide them. But some interiors of buildings are very important as well. So we are trying to close all these suffering buildings. And
Let me ask a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Because in the middle of a military action, how much can you actually focus on preserving this?
We are really focused on it, because it's actually it's our history. Because you know, for Ukrainians, their history, our history, it's really important. Because if we have no we have no monuments from the past, from the history, I'm not sure that we are going to have our future. Because now we're forced and we're fighting to be free. We are fighting to have our independence and to have our freedom, and that's why all these monuments, all this building, it's historical heritage, and we need to preserve it. Of course, we have all the money that we now have. The most important things is to give people, inhabitants, electricity, water, humanitarian aid, food, and so on. But we still have money to preserve our history, and
now,
it's
you
important.
mentioned Poland is helping in this.
Yes,
What other countries are helping?
A lot of countries, actually, a lot of countries. All the Europe. France is helping very much with municipal services, transport, with different, even specialists. Sometimes we need specialists who can tell us what should we do with this or those service. A lot of countries, America is helping as well. A lot of countries. Actually, Kharkiv has very good international cooperation, and we have more than 30 twin cities all over the world. And you know, it was really good, and I was pleased with calls from my colleagues all over the world from the very beginning of this awful war. They called and asked, what kind of help do you need? Do you need any food, water for Kharkiv citizens? Do you need any transport? Do you need any help with money for people, just to evacuate people from Kharkiv? Because now we are speaking just about Kharkiv city, but it's really difficult for me to speak about Kharkiv region because the half of region was occupied by Russians and they destroyed everything with rocket hits, just with fire and so on. And I would like to show you the picture. It is the famous museum, it's in Kharkiv region, it's the museum of Grigory Skovoroda. He is a very famous Ukrainian and European philosopher. And he was also, he did his best to make Ukraine independent. And this museum was destroyed by direct rocket hit. So
you're saying they were targeting the museums, not military installations,
No.
but museums?
Yes, museum. So, and it was really shock for us because it's in a region where nothing connected to the militaries. There were nothing people living there. It's just a museum. And thanks God, we took all the stuff from the museum, but unfortunately the building cannot be rebuilt. So we will need to build another one. And they ruined universities, schools, kindergartens. For instance, we have one of the main universities in Kharkiv, Karazina University. It's the central one. It's one of the oldest universities in Ukraine. And one of the faculty for economy, was destroyed 90%. So I'm not sure if I have a photo, but no. Here you can see the photo of Gorky Park. It's just a park of entertainments. It was one of the best parks in Europe. It's still one of the best. But unfortunately, you can see that they bombed just entertainment zones. So it's something strange for me just to speak about it, because I used to speak about different things, but not about neighbors who are bad, or actually we had 5 sister cities in Russia, and nobody from them even didn't call to ask if we are alive. Just like colleagues, just like friends. We were colleagues for almost 20 years, but no one person. I think that, my personal opinion, it's not okay. It's not okay. Yeah, and here you can see our site with our charities. So because now we are doing a lot of projects just to save money for people, for evacuation, for humanitarian aid, as well as we are saving money for rebuilding objects, different schools and so on.
Is it safe to say that most of the art now is underground?
Yes, and now even the majority of events now, because we are still alive, the city lives its life, and Kharkiv citizens, we have our spirit, and nothing will kill us. I mean, this spirit, and that's why we are holding different events. The majority of them are now in underground, so it's some kind of Kharkiv new cultural heritage.
Let's go right to the satellite to Deputy Mayor Andriy Moskalenko in Lviv. Are you there? There he is. Hello, Deputy Mayor. You've heard Yulia's report.
Hello, colleague.
Yeah. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a little bit of a delay. You've heard Yulia's report from Kharkiv. What is your report from Lviv?
So Lviv was usually tourist city, and so till COVID time, we had approximately 3 million tourists per year in our city. And so even more, we started to think about like a conference tourism. So it's about like a MICE industry. But of course, that's events from since 21st of February, when Russia started new stage of war, new invasion from their side to Ukraine. So we faced a lot of challenges. Lviv became one of the biggest hubs for IDPs because of Ukrainians from cities of most of center at that time and east of Ukraine. They relocated in order to rescue their lives, because Russia started to bombing, like my colleague showed, so started to bombing schools. It's libraries, it's buildings of culture, infrastructure, and so people have to survive and save their lives. So during 3 months, Lviv hosted approximately 2 million 2 million Ukrainians, and through Lviv since 21st of February more than 5 million Ukrainians. Right now we have in the city approximately 200,000 because a lot of people coming back to native cities, because we definitely know and we're confident that we will win, because it's our country, it's our city, and we don't have another, and don't want to have any chance to think on only about we're thinking about victory. If we talk about like industry of tourism, of course, so it doesn't work how it can work in time of turbulence of war. Tourism was for us one of that services which works, because approximately less than 10% of GDP of our city was growing from tourism and the services. Right now, so we are thinking not about tourism like economy affairs. Today we think about like integration, because a lot of people all over Ukraine right now live in the city. We have a lot of delegations from different cities, and it's quite important today to show what the truth is. Because, for example, 2 weeks ago, when in our city was bombing attack from Russia's side, was destroyed 30% of electricity substations. And so the same situation was in a lot of Ukrainian cities. Why they do this? Because they want to spread the fear. But I can definitely say, so in that time when Russians push for us, so we push back, and even during that 2 days, which was very tough for our city, so we gathered record sum of money for donation, our militaries who defend right now our country. So we right now can say that we see some delegations which move from European Union. So I am today also on a trip to Brussels, because we negotiate with different funds, because we have to right now thinking on sustainable development our cities, because we have right now two challenges. So we have, of course, a win in this war, in this awful war, which cost for us is quite so huge, and so this cost which pay our country for the whole world democracy. And from another side, so we have to push and to develop our country, our sustainable development, and to show the whole world how strong we are in all ways which we developed.
Well, Mr. Deputy Mayor, Yuliia was showing us some photographs of the evidence of the targeting, the specific targeting of cultural institutions, heritage, museums. Were they targeting those in Kyiv too? I mean, in Lviv.
It's a very right question. So my colleague mentioned about this, that it's question about values. We covered in our city most of churches' windows, because we in UNESCO Heritage List from 1998, and so we covered also monuments like fontaines, everything what is our legacy, because legacy for us matters, and so matters for us in the future, because we can't build future without legacy which we have, and so we cared about this, and so we do support for different funds who work, and so I can say definitely that a lot of NGO activists also help us, like City Hall, to heritage funds also as well. And so even when you come to, for example, to our city, you can see that that monuments which open publicly every time, so right now they are covered. And so we start to do this immediately when we see what happened in Kharkiv, in our colleague today with us, and in other Ukrainian cities, because for Russians it doesn't matter to what destroy, so they destroy everything because they wanted to spread fear. But we are right now, we don't have any fear, so we have only confidence in our win.
You know, if you take a look at disasters around the world, there are first responders who come in to save human lives and to maintain order. And then there are the second responders who come in to rebuild. And speaking to the industry in this room, the travel industry in this room, and I address this to you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and to both of you, what can the travel industry do to be in a second response mode to help you in the preservation and the rebuilding? Mr. Deputy Mayor, why don't you go first?
So I can say that we never stopped any day, and so even, for example, since September we provided different events, but their approach changes. So we provided mostly in a bomb shelter, and so even we gather people because we have to show what we do, and so right now we also invited different business mission, business trips in order to come to city to show what real situation is, because you know that one of the aims why to destroy infrastructure, it's in order to show that we can be sustainable, but we can be sustainable. Yeah, even in these terms and conditions, so we apply for different awards for different programs, and so we do this. So never can stop this. And so of course, when we talk about tourism, so it's also quite another approach. It's mostly about business delegations, because a lot of embassies representatives were relocated, for example, to our city. But today I have to truly say that we are not divided for that who live in Lviv or Kharkiv or Kyiv, Dnipro. Today we are all Ukrainians, and so it's connected to all of us, and doesn't matter in which day were more missiles, because every missile on our country, on each our city, it's missile to our hearts, because that's what we have to again and again repeat. So we are one big country, and we are on our land, and so we'll definitely will win.
Yuliya, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, for sure. I'm absolutely agree with Andriy, because it's really important for us to understand that we are one nation and we are the only one country. And if something is going on in Kharkiv, if something is attacked by Russians in Kharkiv, I'm for sure know that my colleagues, my friends from Lviv, they are calling the first and asking what kind of help, what's going on, if everything is okay, and so on. So now, if we invite delegations to Ukraine, we invite it to Ukraine to visit different cities. But actually now a lot of delegations are coming to Kharkiv.
Well, in this room, you've got representatives from hotels.
Yeah.
You have representatives from airlines. You have some representatives from cruise lines. I doubt they're going to be sailing to Odessa anytime soon. But the bottom line is, how can they help in an immediate way?
Yes, help travel industries. It's really one of the most important for us. I'm sure it was, but it will be for sure, because of course it's impact on in economy, in budget. But as for now, it's really important to show the truth, to show the information, what's going on, to speak to people, to hold different events, to communicate with your colleagues from Ukraine, because we still have a lot of hotels, a lot of representatives of travel industry in Ukraine, and I'm absolutely sure that they will really appreciate the communication with colleagues. As I told at the beginning, I have a lot of colleagues all over the world from municipalities, and I'm really impressed when they are calling for me, asking about help or so on. So I think that travel industry should now people who are now here, please call your colleagues from Ukraine whom you know, and just speak to them, just maybe communicate with them about future cooperation, maybe about future joint projects, because it's really important. Sometimes we forget that we are that we are representative of city council, of travel company, or something else. We would like to feel us just the people, and we would like to live just standard life like other people live. But we need to feel the support of you. We need to feel that Ukrainians are not alone. And I would like to thank you one more time that we feel it, and we really appreciate this support, and we really appreciate that you are taking care of people who came to your countries, because of course a lot of Ukrainian refugees are now in your countries and in France, as I know, and Yuliia as well, Yulia's family now in France, and it's really important. It's really important, and we really appreciate it. Just
Yuliia, now you have the title of as Goodwill Ambassador. So what message in that vein do you want to give?
Bonsoir, madame et messieurs. Ma vie a changé après le 24 février.
My life has changed after February 24th. Currently, I live in France, in Nice, and I'm very grateful for the French people for having accepted me and my family.
On mission chaque mois.
Every single month,
Dear colleague,
I try and go back to
before
Ukraine.
20 February, my life has changed. Yes, it's. I was involved in travel industry and giving people new emotions thanks to opening new destination in the world in Ukraine as well. But after its war beginning, I was forced to change the sphere as my life and of business. It's all my life changed. Now I'm International Human Commission Rights Goodwill Ambassador with the main purpose to help people, children and animals to survive and get new lives. We are making different projects to save money for children houses to reconstruction of building and damage by Russian. I'm very many help children and animals. Children for has a problem with health. Children for hasn't parents. And my team help evacuations 15 children houses in Kharkiv region and another region, and where is горячие точки. Hotspots, yes. And now it's the children house. It's stay in safe cities in Ukraine, and what I can do, I can help, I can. It's I'm really happy to be today here and to get new contacts which will help us to rebuild our country and build new bridge between Ukraine and the world. Thank you for your attention.
And before we go, Deputy Mayor Moskalenko, are you still with us?
He just wrote that the connection is
the connection is bad.
But he's trying to reconnect.
Okay, well, in his absence, I refer you to the QR code that you're seeing right there. And please, if you get a chance, don't forget to take a photo of it. So you can also contribute in any way you can. I hope when we see you at dinner tonight, you will be there.
Yes, sure.
Please talk to both the Yulias, and I call them the Yulias, to get more information on how you can directly help, either with infrastructure, or it's not just money, it's expertise at this point as well.
Yes, for sure.
To be able, look, they always say, other than human life loss, the first casualty in war is truth, and the second casualty is cultural heritage. And we're seeing that right now. Yes. So please thank them for coming. Please thank the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Yes.